You mentioned trust, and earlier in the conversation, we talked about the caring and inclusion. So I'm sure that was all part of the culture you built at Build-A-Bear. What are you taking from there in terms of the way you built the culture and the customer experience? Because for anyone that's not aware, you were a pioneer in what we'll call experiential retail. What are you taking from there that you're applying today to the real estate endeavors?
Mm-hmm. Well, the same thing is true. I mean, people want to have an experience. And there are all kinds of experiences. When you check into a hotel, how they treat you, and when you go to an airport, how they treat you. And some of those are pretty lousy. And, before you get to the hotel of your dreams, you've had 14 missteps because of the airport and the traffic and whatever. How does that turn into something positive? And we all have a big challenge in that. But that's the fun of it, is wowing the customer. And most of the time, it's nothing fancy. As we started our conversation talking, we think it is, but it isn't. It's just it's the ability for them to do their work or shop or in a place that's pleasant, that people are friendly to them. It's really the little things that matter, the things that people notice. And as a woman, I noticed them all my whole life. I mean, one of the things I do when I was looking for a mall location for Build-A-Bear, I went to the mall bathrooms. Are they clean? Are they neat? Are people in there? Are people complaining about them? What kind of customer shops here? You go into the places that people wouldn't, you don't think the landlord knows too much about, and then you find out a lot about it. And it's the same thing in a school. When you go into a school, what do the bathrooms look like in that school? Are the mirrors broken? Is the water running? Is there hot and cold water? Is all the toilet out of order? Or are they working? What does that say about a building and a building manager and a building person who's responsible? And I think that's just human. That's what we all would want, right? That isn't anything fancy. That's just sort of expected. But if the expected is better than expected, it's a wow. And that's what we should do. And everybody who works in a place should be wowing others. What we find here is that actually people feel welcome here. One Sunday I was here on a Sunday and working, and a neighbor calls me. She doesn't know I'm here. She lives right behind us here. And she said, Maxine, I'm really worried about the neighborhood. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, well, there's some people getting off the bus. There's a lot of people getting off the bus and coming in your building, and they don't look like people that should be in this neighborhood. And I said, well, I'm here, Kim. Why don't you come over and we'll go see. And I knew exactly what it was. Edward Jones was having a financial empowerment class, and they'd brought in great speakers. And they had lunch, and they invited 150 people to come. More than 150. 150 people came to this Sunday lunch meeting, and people brought their families, and there were family activities. And she came in, and her mouth hung open, and she says, I'm sorry, I had no idea. I said, these are people that aspire to live here, that go see your house from the street, and they go, I want to live in a house like that. That's how I was when a little girl riding my bike. And she said, you're right, I'm so sorry. Who am I to have said that? And I think that's one of those things that people, at least because they feel comfortable telling me what makes them mad and what makes them happy, we can solve it. But if you never know and you never ask, you'll never be able to make it more pleasant or repair the damage that might have been done. And so you can see me anytime picking up trash, because this is like a wind tunnel here. It can be windy and trash comes from and I'll go, we have trash cans everywhere, and people will see me. And she told me one day, she says, I saw you picking up trash. Do you have time to just have a cup of coffee? I said, sure, come over. Those are things that make a difference. So the little things. It's not that it's no effort for me to bend down and pick up the trash.
It's very powerful, though, to see you do that. I wasn't aware of the extent to which you're involved in the daily operations here, and I think that's incredible.
Well, I'm not in charge of the trash, but I am in charge of the trash. I don't want people to work in an environment that they think looks musty or dirty, and of course, since COVID, people are afraid to pick up anything dirty. But you can go wash your hands after you've done it, So, but that, and also opening up our rooms, our meeting rooms we have tons of them here. They're meant for our tenants, and they mostly are used by our tenants. But our tenants have partners outside of the Del Mar Divine, and they can also come to the meeting. And we do things for Black History Month, and we do things for training, and we do all kinds of things here that. We thought of some of them, but we didn't think of all of them, and many of them have come from the ideas of our tenants that we wouldn't have even known they had, because we never met with them as often as we could have, even if I was a donor to that charity. I just didn't know everything that they were doing. And we've had new people come here, new employees that come here that are so happy to be here. 670 people work in an office building that was built after COVID, and they come to work here. Not every day, because a lot of people work out in the field, but they're here. and they're proud to say they work here, and that really matters to me. You know that as a building owner, you have to keep things up. People want to be proud of where they live and what they do. So we're trying to create the same environment here on a much tighter budget than we had at Build-A-Bear, and I thought that was a tight budget.